Welcome everyone to our introductory session on discover your personal inspiration and bring it to life. My name is Akshar Patel. I'm a career development coach at the Illinois Institute of Technology in Chicago, Illinois. And with me today is Scott Downs. Scott, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Akshar. It's great to talk to you about this. This is a project that both of us, I think, have had close to our hearts for a long time. So it's great. Yeah, my name's Scott Downs. I work with leaders in organizations. I'm based near London. I'm a SASD fellow at the Illinois Institute of Technology, so I've been a good friend to the institution for a while, and I've made a lot of good friends there, and it's been great to work at IIT on creating this offering. We're excited about it and hope it'll be great for all of you listening.
And Scott, tell us a little bit about how Tricosane and discovering your personal inspiration kind of all came to life. What's the story behind what we're trying to accomplish today?
Okay, well, thanks. Well, Jerry Doyle, who's the vice provost and a good friend of both of us, and I are old friends. We won't say how old we are because it will make us dated, but we met at university and we've been talking on and off for many years. What brought us together around this one, Jerry works obviously, as you do, Akshar, with young people and people particularly looking at their careers and how they get started and weave that into their education. And I've been working for a number of years with people who are senior executives in large organizations around leadership and organizational development. And what brought us together was the sense that there was a need for, we felt a need for a place where we could offer young people some of the resources and the space that sometimes older people like senior executives get offered. So you come kind of in the middle of your career and people start to say to you, well, what's your purpose in life? Or how do you understand what inspires you? And what do you really want to create? And how do you want to create great relationships and great dialogues and kind of learning journeys and all of that sort of thing that often is offered through consultants to very senior leaders. We got saying to ourselves, well, actually, why do you have to wait till your mid-40s until you're kind of running an organization before that could be relevant? Wouldn't some of those resources be really useful to somebody who's younger? I mean, I wish somebody had said to me when I was 18 or 20 or whatever, okay, here's some space and a friendly place without pressure, but with lots of resources that would help you figure out what really inspires you in your life. Kind of what do you want to bring to fruition here? What inspiration moves you, lifts you, floats your boat, and helps you to feel like you have a sense of purpose and direction? And then how do you bring that to life? And if somebody had given me a space where I could work on that and some resources to work on that when I was much younger, that would have been great. Some ways I feel like I missed a few decades in there. So this was the idea. So this is where we got started, and we've been working on it for a while. And this is what you're getting into now is our latest version of the offering.
Great. And one of the things that you brought up with personal inspiration is, I work with students every day that are kind of starting their journey into their careers and are obviously paying a lot of money to go to a great institution and get great academic education and experiences. And one of the things that I notice oftentimes is, students come in and they're very much excited about their degrees, they're excited about working, but they very rarely have an opportunity to really kind of do something with their degree that's under their control, right? Most of our assignments are assigned by faculty. They kind of create the rules, they create the guidelines for that. So this idea of enabling people and empowering people to kind of have their own inspiration earlier in life is something I think that oftentimes students don't have the opportunity to do, and that's something that we want to offer. I think part of what we're trying to do here is really give people the freedom to dream some of the ideas that, I think in the olden times, we would say that, people like Ben Franklin had all the flexibility in the world, and that's why, we know him for what he is today. So I think this is great. I love to hear a little bit more about, what are some of the ways that you think people, young people can find their inspiration? I know that we're going to talk a lot about it throughout the series, that we started, but what's some things that you think, people could really kind of use to help them find their inspiration?
Right. Well, I think there's lots of things, and it's kind of it's a growing list. It's a growing resource base. And it's really important that we do it in a way that doesn't feel pressured. One of the rules, I worked with some young people for a number of years, a few years ago, and one of the rules we kind of made for ourselves is there are no pressure questions allowed here. This is not about, kind of having a story that you think has to sound good at a cocktail party or something. This is more for you, right? But there are lots of ways to do that. I mean, one of them is we do a lot of work with visual representation in our consulting work. So we get, it may sound a little funny, but we get people to draw pictures actually. And we get people to draw pictures and then to present them if they want to a safe audience, to people they trust, right? So it's like, and the kinds of pictures we ask people to think about drawing are so what's brought you to where you are today? Kind of what are the things the influences in your life that have made a difference to you and have kind of shaped you? And one of the exercises we do is to invite people to think about that for a while, maybe to make some notes in a journal, and then to draw what we call a map. So you kind of get a big piece of flip chart paper or something, and you can draw pictures. You don't have to be a great artist. You just kind of draw what comes up and shapes and designs and things. And then you can share it just with yourself, or you can share it with somebody who you really trust. But this idea of kind of helping us all to articulate what's brought us to where we are. So that tends to help us think about, what were the things that really did make us feel great? What were the things where we saw our strengths emerging? What were the places where we met a really great challenge? Where were the relationships that we were able to make that were really nurturing and enlivening? So that's one thing. We ask people to just kind of reflect on different facets, that invite people to, we don't ask them to do anything. We invite them to reflect on different facets of their life, kind of what were the kind of great relationships that they had, or what kind of relationships do they dream of having? What sort of communities and ecosystems do they see themselves belonging to? For some people, belonging to the world ecosystem and being part of a kind of a conscious approach to climate and environment is an important thing. For some other people, it's about being part of a community, might be an ethnic or a religious community, or any connection that you have. Some people have a vision of what they want to do in work, right? So it's what do I want to bring to life in the world? What kind of what do I want to make? This is wonderful maker culture that's coming, which I know is very much alive at IIT with all the design work and the engineering and architecture and kind of people making cool stuff all the time, the technologists. And so what's your vision of what you want to make? And sometimes also kind of connecting to what's your own deepest truth. And people understand their deepest truth in lots of ways. For some people, that's a faith tradition. For some people, it's a philosophical tradition. For some people, their deepest truth is the laws of physics, and that's, hey, there are a lot of people like that. So we invite people to reflect on these things, and we give them in work we've done before. And our intention here is to give people space for dialogue about that in a trusting environment where you talking to people that you trust and who trust you, and where anything is welcome, and we can kind of laugh with each other and be vulnerable and share our stories. And my experience when that has been given to me has been hugely formative. That when somebody gives me the space to do that kind of reflection and feel held, seen, and heard, that's where I grow a lot. So we want to give that back. That's our intent, is to try to make that possible for people.
Yeah, and for those of you that are looking for a place where you can kind of come and just do what you want, this is really what we're trying to offer. One of the things that we always talk about is this this word container, and really kind of we believe in creating containers that people can come into and share ideas, and there are no real rules to the container, no real guidelines, right? We're there to listen to what you have, give you feedback, and really there's no one methodology for finding your inspiration, or else there'd be a lot less books on it, and you know, people would be rediscovering electricity every day. I think a lot of you know, we really
Yes.
are trying to understand that this is truly an art form, and as much as we have guides, and we've written books on, you know, things that you can do, and we have activities that we'll go through in this kind of journey. Really, truly, our goal is to either, you know, Scott says space, I say container, but it's all the same thing, right? We're giving you, you know, a place, or a container or a space where you can come in and have you know, some resources to read, videos to watch, but most importantly, it's this idea of human interaction that we think will help you, you know, find your personal inspiration. I was talking to some faculty members a couple months ago on this idea of inspiration, and you know, though it doesn't seem like oftentimes our professors are thinking about this and thinking about it in regards to students, you know, professors very deeply care about inspiration. And for them, you know, a lot of times their approach is being able to help you find inspiration through the things that they offer. So instead of giving you total freedom, they're introducing concepts to you, introducing ideas to you, in hopes that one of those topics will really kind of spark your interests, and maybe you'll have some sort of inspiration. At Illinois Tech, you know, a lot of the research that our faculty are doing are from personal inspirations, and they're hoping to pass that along to students there. And, you know, I talk about professors because I think one thing that, you know, we want to, you know, talk about is our idea of tricosane, you know, and kind of how does what we want to do work into the classroom, work into some of the things that are already established at a university setting. And, you know, Scott, I'd love for you to kind of explain that model to us a little bit about, you know, what is tricosane, you know, what are the three paths that we talk about, and, you know, what are we trying to accomplish at a university with something like this?
Sure. Yeah, well, thank you. It's a great question. Well, we picked the name tricosane, or it could be tricosan. It's Jerry's background is Irish. He's been in the U.S. for generations, but he's got Irish roots, and he wanted he suggested to us we might try something from Irish Gaelic as a word. So tricosan means like three pathways, or three pathways really. So there's three strands of thinking and experience that we were seeking to tie together. And the three are this inspiration track that we've been talking about mostly, which is what this coursework that you're seeing is focused on particularly. But we want this to be so perfectly woven with the career advice, the kinds of things that you do every day, Akshar, you know, the kind of helping people to understand what the market opportunities are, how they might use their skills, and how they can turn that into a great career. And the third strand is the learning journey, the academic bit. So what we envisage is a situation where people really know who they are and what they want. They have that sense of identity and intention, which is a personal thing. And they're able to use that to drive and shape their learning journeys, and to use that into creating a great career, whether it's an entrepreneurial career or working for an organization, maybe they'd be in government or corporate world, third sector, whatever, you know, whatever inspires you. But to have that weave, and our sense was that weave's often kind of missing. I mean, first of all, our experience was that the inspiration strand is rarely present at all. It wasn't offered to me when I was in university, for sure. I've had 3 kids who've gone through the university system, didn't really see it coming to them. It's true what you say about professors, and I think that's wonderful. You know, teachers, we've all had some great teachers, and teachers tend to have that strand of inspiration, which is a wonderful thing to share. But it tends to be, you know, in a specific course, or if you get fortunate to find one like that. But we're trying to create a space which is a bit more, and I love the word container. Let's not, I love your container word. That's as important to me as it is to you. So I didn't make it sound like I was choosing different language. I'm totally there with you. But that container, to offer that to the whole community, really. I mean, we're starting small. This will be kind of a pilot, probably only a few of us starting, but we'd like it to be widely available. And we want to have a place where all those 3 strands can come together. And I think if we do that, we get something quite special. If we leave out the inspiration strand, then people tend to be following paths that someone else defined. So we kind of live in a world where it's like, okay, we got these majors, pick one, right? Or we've got these jobs that you might do, pick one, right? And that's okay, and it's a good way. But if it's not coming from you, not coming from what really matters to you and your strengths and your skills, then, well, Joseph Campbell had this wonderful quote. He said, sometimes people spend their lives climbing the ladder and they get to the top of the ladder and they find that it's against the wrong wall. So we don't want people getting to the top of the ladder in their mid-40s and feeling like it was the wrong wall. So here's a chance to kind of get a sense of how you pick your wall. And then we've got both academic and career ladders available to help you climb up. And what Akshar said is absolutely right. I mean, what we're trying to do here is to create a context in which you have lots of resources, lots of tools, lots of things you can play with, but no pressure, and really kind of saying it's a self-directed journey in a large way. We're here to help. We're going to shape. We can coach, we can mentor, we can kind of hold the space, we can suggest, but we want it to feel like a very independent, self-directed process. So there's no pressure, there's no timelines, there's no exams, there's no grades. That may mean that, it gets swept away a little bit when you are under pressure for academics. That's okay. But you can always come back to it, and that this stuff a lot of the material will be digital, will be online. This conversation, for example, is going to be recorded and will be online, so you can hear it if you want. And we'll do that with other things. We'll protect confidentiality, of course, but still, to make these things available to a wider community that can share them. And we'd really like it if people get a sense that those three strands weave nicely together for them, and it makes for a great life.
Yeah, and our hope is that this isn't a burden for you, but this is something that you can take and weave into your academic work and into your career development. We're going to watch a lot of inspirational, motivating videos, do a lot of reading from great authors, and our hope is that helps you not only think about what personal inspiration looks like, but also helps you see the inspiration in your academics and see inspiration in your career track. I think that quote of going up a ladder and then seeing it's against the wrong wall. I mean, can you imagine a life where instead of knowing you're at the right wall at 40, you're climbing the right ladder against the right wall at 20? And that kind of life is what we're trying to get at, right? We know that eventually people will, if things go well, we have this system in the world that, like Scott said at the beginning, in the middle age, you might find and have the opportunity to have your own to kind of unlock your personal inspiration, because you're leading a team, you have a lot of trust from the corporate world in you, you've built a lot of credibility. But some of the work that I did in my master's thesis really was about, in a master's degree program, really was about this idea that we oftentimes go to, and in the academic system, we're really conditioned to use other people's experiences for our credibility, right? We are always looking at references from other journals, references from other people, other books. Anytime we're writing a paper, we're trying to get as many citations as we can. But the truth is, if you have an idea or a concept, your life should be enough credibility to convince someone or show someone that this is a concept worth thinking about. And that's really what we think. I think part of inspiration is really understanding that if you have an idea, you don't need to go to 100 different sources and write a 30-page paper and have all these citations. You can say that from my life experiences, this is what I think, this is the idea, and this is what I want to believe. So, this idea of leaning against the right wall, another great analogy here, but I truly think that, our container, our space is going to be a place where you don't have to cite things. If you have an idea, your life is enough credit or enough citation to really kind of bring that idea up. So, we're truly excited about this opportunity. We are looking forward to having you join us on this journey. Like we've said several times, it's no pressure. We just want to provide a space for you to come in and kind of talk to us and join the dialogue. And please feel free to invite others. This is a pilot experience for us. We are hoping that, you know, as we grow and add people, we'll have people at different stages in the experience. And we are here for one-on-one conversations, for, you know, two-on-one conversations if you want to do that. We have all the technology in the world at our fingertips to connect. So regardless of where you are, we will find a way to connect with you. And know that this is not the last conversation Scott and I will have, or that we'll be posting. I'm sure we'll be having tons more that we record and post online. So if you can't join a live session, know that you can always chime in afterwards and have your feedback and join the dialogue.
Exactly, and get in touch with us direct. So, you know, we are both, I think I speak for Akshar, but certainly we would love to hear from you. We'd love to hear from you directly, and we'd love to be in direct conversation, because that's really important. And we've got, there are loads of resources that will be at your disposal. So we'd like to have this be a really great creative tension between lots of things you could look at, but not a sense of pressure. So, and we'll hopefully make these, some of the things that we've learned over the years, available to you in a digestible form and small chunks. You know, they're big books that you can then read. We're not trying to stop you from reading the books, but maybe some of the key ideas we can share. You know, we read this book and this is one of the things we took away. So a lot of that will be available, and hopefully what we'll do is to create something where you've got a rich trove of resources to work with, and a context and a space and a container where you can explore that among friends and feel good about that, and that we all come out with a better understanding of how we want to weave these three strands together for great lives for all of us. And that includes us. You know, we say this is for young people, but it's really for young people and those young at heart, in which Akshar and I include ourselves. He's actually a lot younger than me. But, you know, we're learning about this too, and this is the kind of journey that we're all going on for ourselves. So we welcome you to this, and we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to have you be part of it. We'd love you to help shape it. You know, this is emerging, and so it's going to be dynamic and shaped by those who are involved. And we look forward to having you in it.
Absolutely. And well, thank you for watching here. We are going to continue, like I said, continue the conversation. We'll set up some online places for people to join in discussion as well. And please reach out to us. We'll make sure our contact information is at the end of the video so that you can reach out to us one-on-one personally if you need anything. But thank you for watching, and welcome to Discover Your Personal Inspiration and bring it to life. Thank you.
Thank you, Akshar. It was a great conversation. Always love talking to you. I'm inspired by you, so it'll be fun to work together on this as we have been.
Absolutely. Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care.